Hi, and welcome to On the Couch, Conversations with Brenda Porter, where I have the opportunity to sit down with various theater artists and those who work with theater artists to have a conversation about what they do, how they do it, and how they feel. Please take the time to comment below, like us, or subscribe. Today's guest is Freddie Hendricks. Freddie is a director, an actor, an instructor. Please welcome Freddie Hendricks. Welcome, Freddie.
Hey, it's good to be here.
And it's great to have you. So, Freddie, you are an actor, a director, an instructor.
Yes.
And you are known in Atlanta quite a bit for having begun the Youth Ensemble of Atlanta.
Yes.
So let's start with that. How did that all begin? Because a lot of people teach and a lot of people have great relationships with their students, but then to get your students all to come back and form a bond that has lasted for years and years and years. How did you do that?
You know, that's a great question, and it's amazing because, as you know, in the 80s, you know, I was an actor. I was actually, Brenda, I was making a living as an actor in Atlanta, and I was happy. I mean, I could pay my bills, and to say that is amazing. So one evening, I had a vision of these kids at my window calling out my name, and it kind of messed me up for a minute. I was like, because it wasn't a dream. It was like I was awake. It just as like you are now, like I am. And there was these kids at my window. It was like a sea of kids, and it kind of messed me up for a few months. People were like, because I went into like hiding, and people were knocking on my door, knocking on my window at my apartment, because I lived on 4th Street, which is one street over from Ponce de Leon. And so I had been in the house because my gas was about to be turned off because I hadn't paid it, because I was just kind of freaking out. I was like, am I losing my mind? Am I going crazy here? And so one Saturday, I started out, and I went to, and I just started out walking, Brenda. I was walking and walking and walking. Got to Ponce de Leon. I turned on Boulevard right by, used to be a Church's Chicken, which was a Popeyes right across the street. I don't think that's still there anymore.
No, it's not.
So I started walking past, I just started walking up Boulevard. I passed what used to be Georgia Baptist Hospital. I went over the bridge where you could see. Then the biggest building was the Peachtree Plaza, and I kept on walking, went on the underpass, got to like a Glenwood Avenue, and there was an Amoco station right there, and something made me turn, and then I took the next turn, and then I went around the corner, and right in front of me, this big sign said the Arts Exchange, and I had never heard of the Arts Exchange before. I was like, why am I here? So I walked into the building, and I walked up the stairs. And I know you've probably been there. You know exactly what I'm talking about. I walked up the stairs. I opened the door. I made a left, and there was this chair sitting along the wall. And I just sat down, Brenda, in this one spot. And I was like, what am I doing here? And somebody opened up the door and came out. And actually, it was a friend of mine. His name was Eddie Billups. I don't know if you remember Eddie Billups.
Yes.
He was the executive director there at the Arts Exchange. He was like, Freddie! He was so excited to see me. And he was like, you know, everybody's been calling the office. Where are you? You know, so-and-so's calling you just disappeared off the face of the earth. I said, man, you know, I just been dealing with some stuff. And he was like, hey man, I have this great idea. I said, what, Eddie? He says, why don't you start this youth theater company? I said, and you can call it the Youth Ensemble of Atlanta. He says, I got it. I got everything for you. Just out of the blue, Brenda. He says, I'll take care of your 501c3, and down the hall is the Paul Robeson Theater, and you can you can use the theater and all of this. He said, there are even two kids upstairs, Jamal Kears and Jahi Kears. And I think at the time they were like 8 and 9. And of course, you know, now Jahi is a Broadway star. And he said, you can start with those kids. I was like, man, I can't do kids right now. I cannot do kids. He was like, hey man, just come and look at the theater. I was like, okay, Eddie, because you know I loved Eddie. We were really close. We had been on stage many times together. So we had a bond, we had a relationship. So, but I did not want to be bothered with any youth at the time. So we walked down to the Paul Robeson Theater. And Brenda, when I walked through the doors, it was like, you know, that angelic sound like, it wasn't, hey, Brenda, it wasn't the greatest theater, wasn't the worst. It had folding chairs, but it had like maybe like 150, 200 chairs. Maybe I'm exaggerating there, maybe a little less, I don't know. But it had a stage. It was a theater, and it's something about when I go into theaters, I go crazy. I love the smell of theater, like a cook goes into a restaurant and just love the smell of restaurants. I love the smell of theater. It's just something about it, and I find peace there. And so okay, and all that happened. He said, "This can be yours. You can start working with these young people." He said, "We need it here at the Arts Exchange." I was like, Eddie, nah, bruh, I can't do that. So I walked out the doors, went down to the exit doors, and put my right hand on the door. I'll never forget this. This stays with me. I put my hand on the door, and something stopped me, Brenda. And I looked around. I looked down the hall at where Eddie's office, where he had come out of, and there he was with his hand on the door, looking at me like he was waiting for me to say yes. And I turned around and said, "Okay, Eddie, I'll give it a try." He says, okay, I got you 2 students. But when I went in that Saturday, of course, I had like 9, 10 maybe. And so that's where all of this whole thing began, from a vision that almost made me wonder if I was losing my mind. But it's amazing because from that vision, it changed my life, but also changed the lives of so many people, so many young people from around the world. So, you know, I know that's an amazing story to me. And it's like, just unbelievable.
Well, that's God. I want people to know that the Youth Ensemble of Atlanta still exists. Debbie Barber is the artistic director of it now. You can still go online, find out about them, and have your young people go there and get some training. So
absolutely.
You left Atlanta at a successful time in your career, when you were paying your bills, you were happy, you were doing the art.
Yes.
And God spoke to you, and you left for 10 years. Still on.
Close to 10, 9.
That's amazing.
Yeah. You know, and I thought I was going to come back after 2. I know that, but my mom, you know, I thought I had brought her back, and she was doing well after the first stroke. Then she had a cardiac cath, and was supposed to be out the next day, but the doctors came in the waiting room and said, "Your mom stroked on the table." And after that second one, that dementia set in, and I knew I couldn't leave. Because one of my brothers is an architect. He works in Atlanta, and he was working in DC, Philly, all up there, engineer. And my other brother is a musician. He travels all around playing guitar. And I had just lost 2 of my brothers. So I knew it had to be me, and I did it. I put all my furniture in the storage, and I did it.
So what did you learn personally, and what did you learn about your art in that 10-year sabbatical?
You know, Brenda, that was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. That's one thing. And I learned how strong I was, you know, because I never knew I was that strong. Because dementia, Alzheimer's, that's a rough disease, you know, and I had to fight it a lot. I had to fight that disease. I mean, meaning fight my mom sometimes, and some of the stuff I had to do to make sure she was well, I never thought I would do with my mom. You know, I'm a man and that's my mom, but there are some places I never thought that I would see, or have to clean, or have to do that. But I did it out of love. You know, love makes you. You know, I surrendered everything to that process, to the process of just loving my mom and making sure she was okay. That was my first priority. She passed like February 26th of last year, and COVID started hitting like March, maybe March something, 12th or 18th or something. So we were able to have our big celebration, you know. If not, it would have been, you know, so everything, God works everything out for the best, you know. So now I'm back ready to start my career off again. You know, I just think it's going to be even bigger and even better this time. So I'm looking forward to that.
So how do you start back at a, you know, after you've been away for that long?
Listen, it's not easy, but I'm listening to a power far beyond me. You know, I go into it, I guess, ask God to lead me, you know, and where he tells me to go, that's where I go. You know, right now I'm in a 2-bedroom condo. How did I get here? I have no idea. A nice condo, a nice area in Sandy Springs. When I came to Atlanta, I had no money, but I'm here. I'm getting ready to create a new show, like which will probably come out in 2022, maybe summer, fall next year. I'm ready to get, you know, I'm ready to start practicing my acting muscle because it's kind of weak. I'm ready to jump into that with whatever comes, whatever God provides, whatever comes my way. So I don't know how you start over again. I just trust and have faith in God that he's going to do it. You know, I just say, you know, right now, everything I do, I just do the best that I can and I'm good with it. You know, there was a time when I would worry, you know, I would just worry about everything I would do. I would worry about paying my bills. I would worry about all of this. But, you know, like I tell people now, it's so crazy because worry for what? You know, because they always got paid. It always worked out. And so that's the way I see it as, no, I don't worry about things. That's a lesson I learned from that 9-year experience. You know, I know God, the creator, the universe, whoever you want to call it, you know, it's God to me. He takes care of me. He looks after me. So and I listen. And I used to didn't know how to listen, Brenda. I know how to listen. and it's made all the difference in the world. I know wherever he sends me, it's where I belong. You know, so that's where I am.
So what are your goals and aspirations now that you're back here?
I want to finish the show. I'm in the process of this show has been on my mind. It's called WAR, acronym We Ain't Right, and it deals with the internal battles that turn into external wars. And it sounds really deep, but there's gonna be some laughter and some comedy in this particular piece. I want to get that up and pitch that to some networks like Hulu, Netflix. It's a few people interested. It will be a theatrical production filmed on a soundstage, and hopefully we're going to do that early winter of next year. that, and I want to get my feet wet again in acting. I want to see what, you know, an old man does. I want to see if some of the things I've learned and some of the things that I've taught, how I can take those things as an artist, as an actor, and use all those things that I've taught these kids that are now on Broadway, that have Grammys, that have Tonys, you know, Emmys. You know, I want to see, okay, dude, you know, you did all these things for all of these other people. Do something for yourself now. It's your turn, dude. Now, what you gonna do? You know, and I just have faith that whatever comes along, I'm gonna kill it because I have that passion to do it. I have that fire in my belly. You know what because, well, you know, I don't know if we've ever done a project together, but we've known each other for years. Everything I do, everything I've done in the past, I used to do really, really hard and really, really, all of this. I learned from that. I learned how to take my time with things. You know, the passion is good, but everything has to be controlled. So I'm just looking forward to everything that comes my way, Brenda. So we'll see. We'll see what God has. You know, I don't know. But the only thing I know, Brenda, Miss Brenda Porter, is that it's going to be great. It's going to be amazing. You know, it's going to be amazing. So.
Well, what I love is your passion that you mentioned, because a lot of times we get to a certain age and we've been in the theater, we've been in film for a while, and we're still pursuing it. People are still pursuing it and they're still wanting to do it and they're still out there doing it. But sometimes that passion that you have when you're in your 20s and 30s dies, or it changes, not necessarily dies, but it changes. Mm-hmm. But I can still see, as you talk, the love and the passion that you still have. And I love that.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that.
Yeah, you know, I know change is the only constant, and change has become a friend of mine. I made it a friend instead of an enemy. or something that I question. I don't question change anymore. You know, it's okay, this is where I'm supposed to be now. Let's kill it. Let's kill this moment. Let's live productively in this particular moment here. Let's do it to the best of you. I want to do it to the best of my ability in whatever moment now. You know, you hit 60, things change. You know, I've learned, I've grown so much. You know, and I hope to God that I'm a better human being, because what I found out, Brenda, is that love is all there is. There is nothing else. I mean, nothing else is really, really important. And first of all, it's love for self. You know, because if I don't love myself, I can't love anybody else. You know, and you hear people going around, I love you, I love you. And then you witness that they're really not loving themselves. So therefore they're a liar. Because they don't know what the emotion is. They're not in, before you can make something real, you have to be familiar with the particular emotion. And people don't know what love is if they don't love themselves. You got to love you first. And it's so magical, because then you're given the power to love everything else and everybody else. It's a beautiful thing.
You said that change is the only thing that's constant,
yeah.
Which is so true.
Yeah.
And this pandemic has brought about a bunch of change in a lot of ways for individuals, for the world, for restaurants, for businesses, and for theater and film. Mm-hmm. How do you see that change affecting you and what you do?
I think it made me realize that I'm okay. It made me realize that I'm okay with myself. That that I like myself, because, you know, that quarantine thing was me. You know, sometimes it was just me here by myself all the time. But I had a lot of practice, because a lot of times it was just me at my mom's place, you know. So it was like, And some people say, well, did you get lonely? No, I put it to good use, you know, either working on my art, my craft in writing, or a lot of things in prayer, or just trying to manifest things that will make me a better artist, a better person, just better, period. You know, I tell all of my kids that that we are born great. And then when we find our passion, some people find it really, really early. People like Michael Jackson, maybe like the Williams sisters, you know, kids, you know, find that passion early and they begin to pursue it. So they start living in their greatness then. And then the only thing left is to be greater, you know. So that's where I am. I just want to be greater, you know, because I know I was born great and I'm living in my greatness. I've been living in my greatness for a while. Even when I was, you know, with my mom, I was still living in my greatness. I was living in the greatness of love, because there's nothing like giving yourself to somebody else that you love unselfishly, you know. And that was the great thing about that, Brenda. I wasn't giving it selfishly. You know, the only reason I was giving it was because I loved her. And although she's not here, I love her. And you know what? As hard as it was, I would do it again if I had to.
You happened to mention to me that you are doing a master class in London via the internet.
Yes.
So how did that come about? What is the master class in? And who are your students?
Okay, the master class is in acting, and it's from my students are professors from the Stanislavski Institute in London, the other students from Rose Bruford College in London, which is a real prestigious college. And it's crazy, Brenda, because you know, I'm like one of the only Black men. I don't know if I'm the only one. I've been told that I was the only one. I'm not sure. So I'm not going to make that claim. Black man to have his own acting method that's recognized. The Hendricks Method is being taught. It was being taught there even before I knew it. I have people, yeah, people been saying, you know, I've been studying you for 2 years, and people, I've been teaching about you for 3 years. I teach about you. You know, you're at Yale. They're teaching about you at Yale. They're teaching about you in Ivy League schools. You know, I'm like, okay, because apparently the Hendricks Method from the Black Acting Method studio has really taken off, and I didn't even know what was going on because I was taking care of my mom, and you know, and all of these books are coming out about me, about Hendricks and the Hendricks Method and all of this of acting. I'm like, wow, I didn't even, you know.
And what is the Hendricks Method?
Wow, like I tell a lot of people, you have to take my class to find out, because I don't know, I just do it. You know, it's just hard for me to define. I leave that to other people to define. And a lot of my kids have defined it. They say it's an Afrocentric approach to, it's like digging deep in somebody's soul, a person's soul, and teaching them that way, and teaching them love for their art, teaching them love for themselves, and letting them know that they can do anything. Because also what I teach, and maybe this is part of the method too, I'm not sure, but as Black people here in America, for sure, acting is us, it's in us. All of that is in us already. All those emotions we need is in us. I don't think any other race per se in America is like that but us, because I am my mother, I am my grandmother, and my grandmother is her grandmother, and my great-great-great-grandmother is her grandmother, so on down the line. And so in slavery, they went through a whole lot of emotions in there. So the only thing I have to do as an heir to all of that is get in touch with it. And I found out, Brenda, it works. I found out at least it works for me. And a lot of my kids now have told me that it works for them, because it wasn't even like the Hendricks method then. It was no Hendricks method kind of thing. I would just teach that. I would say, you can do anything because it's in you. I said, you can take all the classes you want, but you just have to, but it's all about you doing your research and do the research to become the character. And the key to all of that stuff is believing. You got to believe. You got to believe. That if you don't believe, that's not. And then they say, well, I get into it, and I don't want to lose myself. I said, well, that's part of the art of coming back from not losing yourself. That's the art. That's where we get to the art of it. Going into the character, then coming back to yourself. So it's crazy when people ask me what the Hendricks method is. I really don't know so much. Everybody, people be calling me all the time. And everybody has different views. So I don't know. It's and I was going to tell you about England. This name of this college is Rose Bruford, Bruford. It's a prestigious school in London, and the Stanislavski Institute, which is in London. They're all a part of this thing I'm doing with these students, and some of them are actually professors at all of these prestigious theater schools in London. Can you believe it? I'm like teaching professors who tell me, this is so amazing to me, Freddie. I've been learning about you for 2 years. I'm like, what? Are you serious? I don't say that to them. I just say, humbly say, wow.
So they have books on Stanislavski method. They have books on the Meisner method. And there's a book on the Hendricks method.
I think there's like two. I think there's 2 or 3 now.
For real?
And the one was the #1 bestseller. It was the Black Acting Methods book. You familiar with that?
No.
Black Acting Methods. That was a bestseller on Amazon for months.
Oh my gosh.
And it came out like maybe 5 years ago.
And you didn't write these books?
No. The first book was done by two of my students, Dr. Sherelle Luckett. I don't know if you know her.
Mm-hmm.
And Dr. Tia Schaefer. They wrote that first book. They did the Black Acting book, which was like one of the most popular ones, that's everywhere. That's in the HBCUs. That's in at Yale. That's at Harvard. That's in all of the school, the prestigious schools.
So Freddie, what differs from the Hendricks method and let's say what Douglas Turner Ward would have taught, or?
That's you're good because I don't know. It could be the same thing. I don't know, because of course I'm familiar with Douglas Turner Ward. But I never really knew what he taught. I just knew there were great people to come from his workshops, his plays. The greatness came from this man. So that's kind of all I know. So I think it's more similar than it is different. You know, because I think we both come from a spiritual background. We both believe in the power of love and passion, that it could take you wherever you want to go if you believe it. And you know, some of these methods that are out there, it's not about really believing. It's about putting on a mask or something. You know what I'm saying? And it's so funny, Brenda, because when I was in college, I studied like Stanislavski, I studied Meisner because I'm a speech and theater arts major. I studied all of those things. But when I got out of college and then I started to work, none of it worked for me. And I was fortunate enough to run across like Tom Jones and Marsha Jackson, who accepted me for who I was, you know, and they started creating stuff around me, not that, which they did with everybody, really. That's the way they kind of created their shows. So, you know, I don't know what, I don't know what that is. Is that bad that I don't know?
No, it's not.
Okay.
It's not bad.
Okay.
And I love the fact that you talk about believing, because when I'm directing, I will so many times say to my actors, that was good, but I didn't believe it.
Yeah.
Because,
right.
and if I didn't believe, and they'll go, neither did I. And I'm like, well, then why are you doing it?
What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you?
I didn't believe it. You didn't believe it. And the audience will definitely not believe it.
Right. You know, it's like, it's just about going there. You know, it's about that muscle you got to build, that going that muscle, you know. And I'm excited to continue to build mine because it's kind of weak now, but I'm gonna get there. But it's I think even in my directing now, so because it's been a while, you know, I used to direct shows in the summer at the Southwest Arts Center. So that particular muscle was a little bit stronger. And plus I do workshops like every Saturday. So that muscle is stronger, and I'm able to do these workshops like in, overseas and you know, also in the Dominican Republic. Oh, I didn't even tell you about this great thing that happened to me. I got the chance to go with MJJ Productions to celebrate Michael Jackson in the Dominican Republic. That was like 2 summers ago. And I got a chance to get a break, you know, from, you know, somebody was looking after my mom, but I got a break, and that was amazing because Michael Jackson's best friend is a choreographer, and I just happen to know Travis, and I met Travis through Michael Mario, who owns the Good Acting Studio, and but he says, "Well, Freddie, I've always known you." I said, "Oh, okay," because he went to Northside with Jasmine, so I was like, "Oh, okay." But anyway, just going there, just knowing, although Michael Jackson wasn't there, of course, he had passed away, but just that celebration of his life. They say the Dominican Republic was one of his favorite places to go. And it was, Brenda, it was so beautiful. And, you know, it was amazing. It was amazing. I got a chance to work with all these Dominican kids. It was like 200 kids. And we went like in the ghetto, and we were like in like this box, this dirt box, like that was like filled like with houses around it, and that's what we were working. We were working with the kids in the mud, in the dirt, and the day that we were filming the video, it started raining, and it made the shoot so magical, so amazing, because when they were stomped, the water would go, little particles in it, like Michael Jackson. The water would go from their, you know, it would hit their feet, and it would go, And everybody was like, is this not amazing? Is Michael Jackson not here for this? But anyway, so that was a good time for me. That was a good time for me. And I have a couple more journeys that, you know, it was great. It's unbelievable. I never thought I would get there. Still to this day, I don't know how I got there, but I just thank God for that, you know, because I just want to be on this journey and feeling the way I'm feeling without you know, God's grace and God's love, and I know that, and I accept that, and I appreciate that, and I'm not ashamed of that. You know, I just if any artists, young artists are listening to this, which I hope they will, just never stop. It's a rough road. There's a lot of detours. There's a lot of bumps. There's a lot of accidents you're gonna have to stop for and wait until it's cleared out, you know, before you can proceed forward. But as long as you stay the course. And when you think about success as taking care of yourself, taking care of your family, your immediate family, your loved ones. That's success. Being able to eat every day, being able to get in a car and drive where you want to drive. That's success. You know what I mean? Being able to go to Walmart and buy what you want and come back and having some more money in your pocket to do what you want to, and to be happy. That's success. All this other stuff that these kids now, and not just kids, a lot of people are chasing this thing, and it wears them down, it wears them out. And that's just what I want to leave with everybody. You know, be aware of the success that you chase. You know, just be aware. You know, if something does not make you happy, don't do it. If your gut tells you I'm in the wrong place at the wrong time, I shouldn't be at this audition with somebody telling me to take off my clothes, don't do it. You know, if I'm at an audition and people are telling me to act more black or act more whatever, or to cut my locks or without no reason, don't do it. Leave. That's not a place for you, because you keep on the journey, you will find your place. There's a place for all of us. And if you can't find it, make your own place. Make your own. Pay yourself. You know, that's the most profound and powerful thing I think I've ever said, and that I say is to young artists: pay yourself. You know, these kids today, it's like they want to be famous tomorrow. I'm like, fame kills, baby. Be successful. And I'm not talking everybody. Fame doesn't kill everybody. But it has killed a lot of my favorite artists. You know, like Whitney and Prince and Michael and Donny Hathaway and Marvin Gaye, and fame took them. And I guarantee you know, people say, well, how you know it was fame? Come on. You know, plus that, you know, that's another world. You know, I've experienced some of that. I did the 2000 Cultural Olympiad in Rotterdam. I directed it. It was huge, and I thought I was famous. I was like, I had to slap myself. I was like, what is wrong with you, boy? You better get out your own way. What is wrong with you? Appreciate this for what it is. It ain't about you. Yeah, you did it, but you want to do more, get out your way. You know, you ain't all that, dude. You know, I have to break myself down. But it only took me a day. So I just had to say, stop, what are you doing talking to that person like that? Thinking you're all of this, you know, and all of that. Instead of giving them love, you're like breaking them down. I'm like, stop.
Yeah, we get lost. We get lost sometimes.
Yeah, 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 yeah. But those are I appreciate those times because that's when you grow. It's all about growth. You know, like I was telling you earlier, Brenda, that's what I want to grow. I want to grow and just be greater at everything I do. You know, and people say, I want to change. Freddie, you always talking about you want to change the world. Yeah, I'm like, don't you? I want to change the world. They said, but that's a whole lot. I said, you're looking at it different than I am. I said, I'm talking to you right now. That's changing the world. Everything you do changes the world. It's just your perspective on it. You know what I'm saying?
A little piece at a time.
A little piece at a time, sis.
Thank you so much, Freddie, for agreeing to have this conversation. So if you are watching today, please don't forget to take the time to comment below, subscribe, and like us. Meanwhile, come back next time. Keep the conversations going.
Let's have a heart-to-heart. Let's have a conversation. Let's have a heart-to-heart. Let's have a consultation. Let's have a heart-to-heart. Let's have a conversation. Let's have a heart-to-heart.